Hi, welcome to another GCSE P.E video. This one is on commercialism. Now I've done a first one on commercialism, which is the golden triangle. If you haven't seen that, I suggest you watch that first. You can check it out there. Now this one will look really at the advantages and disadvantages to sports people of commercialism, okay? Now before we look at that, we need to look at the roots of commercialism. So really they are in TV. Sport didn't have a lot of links to sponsorship and business until TV started to really kind of become involved in sport. If you go back and you watch really old footage of football, maybe the 1966 World Cup, you'll see really limited sponsorship, etc., on their shirts or boots, etc. There's no kind of commercialism involved. Now, commercialism is huge. You'll see loads of advertising, adverts between, before and after games, and all the elite performers have their own individual sponsors, both in sporting equipment and also in lifestyle products. So what do we mean by media? We mean TV, internet, social media and radio. Anytime a product can be mentioned or seen on those, money can be made because people might go out and buy those products. Because millions of people watch sport, businesses want their logos, products to be seen in those events with successful sports people. So they'll try and get sponsorship maybe around the stadium or the performance area. They want the players to be wearing their trainers or their football boots. So they're linked and people start thinking, I want the same football boots as that player because they're amazing. A lot of elite sport is now on pay-per-view TV, where you've got to either buy a monthly subscription or buy one-off events. That means TV companies can make massive money, which they can then spend on producing more footage for sport and give that money back to the sports performers and the sports clubs. Now, individual sports people such as tennis and golf really rely very heavily on sponsorship. And so they'll often see on a tennis player sponsorship logos on their sleeves and on their kit. They'll be paid a lot of money to wear certain trainers or tennis clothes, because what tennis players and golfers need is they need to win events to be able to fund their travel and their lifestyle and their training, and to buy extra coaches or specialists to help them improve their performance. Football players are often paid wages. Tennis players and golf players are not paid wages. They have to win prize money or get sponsorship. So let's look at the advantages. So firstly, it's a massive source of money for the performers and for the elite sports clubs. The richer a sports club can be, the better the training facilities, the better the coach they can bring in, more players they can bring in. It helps sports players pursue their dreams. If they can secure a sponsorship deal at a young age, it might be they can come out of their work and focus purely on training to become an elite sports person. It helps them succeed, and it helps them gain fame and fortune, because that might be one of their driving forces. They might want to win, but they might also want to be famous. It doesn't just help elite sport improve, it also helps grassroots, because some of that money from sponsorship deals of elite clubs and national governing bodies and competitions gets passed downwards to grassroots level, so junior level, so we can have more coaching, better facilities, and players can progress upwards. You're going to get more people watching your sport, and that's a benefit because more people want to come and watch live, so therefore they're going to bring money to your ground. But also more younger fans are going to want to come into your sport, and therefore they might become the next elite players and progress up from grassroots to elite. For the health of the nation, we're going to increase our participation, and that's going to make people healthier. That's going to reduce the stress on the NHS and reduce the amount of taxpayers' money has to go on to healthcare. And commercialism can help promote really good role models to people. So really elite and successful sports people become role models. And if they're really good at sport and a really good role model, that's going to help other people progress in the sport and want to be involved. Now, there are disadvantages to commercialism in sport. And the number one really is that it can really encourage people who maybe can't afford to be pressured into buying sports kit, football boots, basketball boots, etc., that maybe are really expensive and could put a strain on their income. Now, a classic example of this is Michael Jordan and Air Jordans, where they wouldn't make enough Air Jordans and they'd keep the price really high, and there was often violence to get those trainers. Sponsors require teams to do certain functions for them. So often if, for example, a team is sponsored by a company from Japan or South Korea, they'll often have to do their pre-season tour maybe out in South Korea or Japan. Now that's extra travelling that players wouldn't really want to do, in different time zones, playing maybe with jet lag just before the season's about to kick off. And that's purely to make sure their sponsors are happy. We've even got now sports companies sponsoring pre-season tournaments such as Nike and Adidas, and clubs that wear Nike and Adidas shirts go and play in those because it's a perfect photo opportunity for those brands. Sometimes the most profitable sports people aren't the most successful. There have been examples, particularly in women's tennis, where the most attractive female tennis player has made the most money because sponsors have paid them more money to wear their products or endorse their items. At stadiums, often lots of tickets are given to corporate businesses where they can bring guests, and that can lead to an increased price on other seats because there are less available. Most live sport now has adverts before, at halftime or after, and they can ruin the experience because often you want to watch what people are going to talk about or watch highlights, but instead adverts are put there. And the last one is gambling companies, alcohol companies and fast food companies often want to associate themselves with sports. Now, those three things don't necessarily link with a healthy and active lifestyle. And so it's a real balance whether sports teams or even junior clubs should be involved in brands that are negative. Sports fashion is now huge, and brands such as Nike and Adidas have been known for years not to just bring out sporting equipment and clothing, but also equipment that is fashionable, so people don't just wear it when they're participating in sport, they'll wear it in everyday life. But there are also sports where people will buy equipment because they want to look like those sporting players, such as a lot of golfers will go and buy their favourite golfers' shirts. Same with tennis, because people want to look like their role models. Some sports stars even have their own brand within a brand. So for example, Cristiano Ronaldo has his own brand within Nike, and the very top sports people are now trying to develop their own brands or own brands within like the major companies. Now in an exam, you're going to probably get asked about the advantages or disadvantages of commercialism in sport. That'll be a kind of an evaluation or discuss question. So keep a lookout for those. You'll have to like maybe compare an advantage to a disadvantage. Also, you'll get asked about why certain companies shouldn't sponsor junior teams and what could be the negative connotations of that. You'll have to answer that kind of question in an AO1, AO2 and AO3 way often. If you're not sure how to do that, check out the 9-mark question as well. That'll help explain AO1, AO2 and AO3. Okay, thanks for watching. If you need help with any other topics, check out some of my other videos and good luck.